Welcome to Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling, the ESPN for all things comedy, with your hosts, Mark Riccadonna and Richie Byrne. And now, grab a drink and welcome Mark Riccadonna and Richie Byrne.
Welcome to Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling. I'm your host, Mark Riccadonna. With me, as always,
Richie Byrne. We have a new opening.
How fun is that opening? I absolutely love it. Let's bring the man out who's responsible for it. Tom, join us. This is Tom Bannis.
Hey, Tomas. What's up? Great job.
What a cool new opening. Very
I did most of it, but
anything you guys like about the opening, I will take credit for, but anything you don't like, I don't want any of the blame. That was Tom.
Perfect.
Just keeping it real. That was so cool. I'm super impressed. I think it came together beautifully. When you said you were going to redo the opening, I was a little hesitant because we had our thing, but now our old thing is the old thing. I think this is it.
Yeah.
It's the one.
Now I do have a complaint. Not me, but a fan has a complaint about our show, and I have to say she's right, but we do have an excuse. Christiane, Christiane who writes in her, I actually went into her last night, and she goes, "You guys don't drink on the show anymore." And I'm like, all right. And she goes, it should not be called Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling if you're not going to drink. And I'm like, all right, we'll call it Diet Coke, Jokes, and Storytelling. How about that? We'll get over.
Well, tell her to be a comedian for 20 years and drink to blackout every night. And then wake up at 11 o'clock in the morning and then go, oh, yeah, I got to start drinking again.
I have coffee, water, and a Diet Coke because I'm doing Vignola's show after this. So I have got it.
You fluid it up.
Yeah, I'm going to be so bloated at 4 o'clock. I did tell her, though, I go, you have to understand something. We used to do the show audio from the comic strip in their studio. So we would do 5 or 6 shows in a day, and we would have a drink every show. And we were hammered by the last show, if you remember.
We're walking out just, that was fun. The sun was still out.
Now we're doing the show 2 o'clock on a Monday. It's a little hard to let me grab a Scots right now and put some rocks on it and go,
I still do try to have a drink during the show.
We do a lot. We try. I mean, not today. I'm actually on the wagon. So you guys remember I quit for Lent.
Yeah.
Actually, I tell people I quit during Lent. I didn't really quit for Lent, but I quit during Lent. Well, a buddy of mine, crazy, he kept going, when did you quit? I go, Ash Wednesday. He goes, when are you going to drink again? I go, Easter. He goes, so you quit for Lent? I go, no. I quit. Oh, crazy. I don't know why. I quit. And then I drank 3 days during that period. And every time I drank, the guy was like, you drank. I go, yeah, I'm allowed to. I'm a grown man. He goes, but it's Lent. I go, I didn't quit for Lent. That drove him berserk. So last night he goes, why'd you quit now? I go, because I wanted to. He goes, but there's no holiday. I go, what is wrong with you? Can't we not have a drink?
I would just spend a month in Florida, and I was doing really well. I was dieting. I was exercising every day. I was doing insanely well. I started losing weight and feeling really good. Then I went to Florida.
Yeah.
And I drank every goddamn day to excess. I mean, just was.
Because you were on the road. It's what comics do.
And I just, I got back. Literally, Sunday was my first. Yesterday was my first day home, where I was actually home at my house, and I was like, I need to take a break.
Yeah.
Like my insides look like a fucking football.
Well, I woke up Thursday and I was nauseous. I don't know if I had something, because it lasted till Saturday, Sunday, maybe even Sunday. It got less, and when I woke up Thursday, I'm like, you have got to stop drinking for a while. You know, and my buddy Danny, who I drink with, who's from Ireland, he went to Ireland for like 2 weeks. He left on Wednesday. So I'm like, all right, one of my drinking buddies is gone. He's in Ireland, probably getting hammered every day, like sitting in a bar. And I'm like, I'm not going to drink at least until he comes back, just to piss him off.
Oh, Richie, you'll get a kick out of this, I think. So Saturday, we were home. We came home, but then I was with Ken Mosca, who we have to have on the show. I called him. I'm still waiting.
I'm still jealous. I wish I could have gone out to see you guys.
I got so hammered with him because
I don't believe that. Not my
But I come back and I had a show at the EMOS Theater Saturday.
Right.
And I drive down there. I get there. I go, I can't drink. I'm hungover from like a month straight of drinking. I go out and I run into Peggy O'Leary, who's also on the show. She goes, we're going to this bar, Volps. Why don't you come over? So I come over and I go, I'm not drinking. I'll just have a seltzer water and a shot of tequila.
That technically isn't drinking because you didn't have a beer chaser.
Yeah, I drank seltzer after I ended up drinking like 8 shots of tequila.
Well, there's a lot of health products. There's a lot of health involved in tequila. So
it's true.
And you had seltzer. I'm proud of you, buddy.
Yeah. It's the little victories that really.
Ironically, that's the nickname for my penis, Little Vic.
Little Victor. Just Vic for short, because it usually is. All right, should we get this thing kicked off? We have an amazing guest.
Let's get this guy out, and let's talk really quick about. We had another death in the comedy world over the weekend.
Yes,
so we should talk about that. But let's bring our guest out because I'm really excited to meet him.
Yeah, I can't believe you guys don't know each other. You're two of the guys that it's like if I have a choice of who I get to work with, you know, once in a while you get those gigs where they like, yeah, why don't you just bring a buddy or whatever? He's one of them and you're one of them. I can't believe we all haven't hung out a million times. He's also the first comedian that Angie hung out with when we started dating, like hung with. And he kind of set the bar a little too high because you guys know how scummy comedians are. And this guy's a legit nice guy. So it was like, she's like, oh, comedians are a lot of fun. I'm like, oh, yeah. We should have started somewhere else.
And we should have started with Voss.
Yeah, we should have built up to. Folks, this is Matt Bergman. Matt, come on out and join us.
Hey, so I'm drinking. I don't care.
Look. Matt knows the show.
Hey, I thought so. I thought I knew the show, but apparently you guys are doing a little switcheroo, killing some characters off.
This is our Game of Thrones Red Wedding moment. Richie's not drinking anymore.
I get it.
And I came Game of Thrones. I would have found that really funny.
And I'm recovering from a soccer match last night too, so for me to have a drink next day, it's pretty wild. I'm in DC, and we got the DC night. We're season ticket holders, and we're in the supporter section where every time they score, the supporters throw their beer in the air. Yeah. So it's just so funny how we went from like April, only 5,000 people were allowed. We had to wear masks, and now we're throwing our backwash on each other. Meanwhile, there's a Delta variant out there. We're all good. We're fine. Everything's fine.
You guys just throw your beer right in the air like you graduated high school?
Pretty much, but some people don't know how to do it. Like if it's first timers, people just throw it like sideways, so you just get splashed in the face with just beer. Like most people have to just toss their beers in the air.
I love that there's rookie beer throwers out there.
There's plenty of them. Plenty of them.
Look, you see how he does it? That guy's a pro. The real rookies throw the whole glass.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Actually, no, that's okay. That's plastic. So sometimes people do just throw their full beer in the air. You might as well.
Well, I guess that makes you so you don't ever have a full beer. As soon as you get your beer, you just start sipping it right away because if they score.
Well, the move is you get 2 plastic things. You get one empty one and then one of your full one. You just pour just a little bit into your tiny plastic one, and that's the one you throw in the air. You don't throw your $12 beer in the air. You throw a tiny bit of beer. Mm-hmm. That's what most people do. But once something happens, once you get to that 75th minute and people are hammered, they forget that rule. And all of a sudden you're getting splashed with all of it. Yeah.
Well, Matt, they say that the first sign of alcoholism is when you leave the Christmas lights on all year.
There it is. You guys see that? That's a fun little, yeah.
But he's got a summer
shandy. I do have a summer shandy too.
I'm
predictable today.
What I think is Matt's not even celebrating Christmas. He just really wants to show people what an alcoholic he is.
I think it's that and laziness, right? It's not even so much the Christmas. It's just like, look at that. That's my wife tied him around. We're not going to do that every year. All right, we're doing that one time, and we'll take him down when we move.
One thing you don't hear a lot of is Merry Christmas, Mr. Bergman.
Exactly. What is he exactly? Yeah, I know.
Listen,
I didn't.
4 years ago, there was a promise that we would say Merry Christmas, and it's happening.
Oh, right.
And I don't care if I'm talking to Muhammad and Matt Bergman. I'm wishing them a Merry Christmas, whether they want it or not.
Muhammad. Somehow that's offensive in 2021, but I'm not sure how. But I know it is.
He's a comedian. I know.
See another one.
How do you not call yourself Muhammad squared at that point? What are you doing?
That's why Bergman's the cream of the crop.
What are you drinking, Matt?
I got a little line in Google's summer shandy.
Nice. Summer shandy are good, man.
They are. I drink them all year round.
They're very refreshing, though, in a hot day like today,
So when they're pre-made, like you get them in the bottle, is it lemonade and beer, or is it a lemonade flavored beer?
Good question. I think it's natural lemonade flavor. Oh boy, just the flavor. So I don't even know if they got the lemonade in there. Where we got the ingredients? They're not going to put that in there. Just if I'm pregnant, don't drink it. That's what they say. No ingredients on the bottle. So who knows what's in there?
That's why I'm not drinking. I didn't want to tell you guys, but
it's 6 months.
I'm going to be a father again.
Or a mother. I don't let women talk.
Oh my God! So, Matt, one of the things we wanted to talk to you about is you have a new album coming out.
Eventually, yeah. Recording in October, but I had so I record in October and then should be out. I hope before the end of the year. That's their decision at that point when they release it.
Yeah. Now, you're not with the same label on both, are you? Because this is your second album.
It is. The other one was self-released, and then they bought the first album and then re-released it. So it's Helium Records, and then they re-released the last one in April, and then the next one will be with them as well. So a little 2-album deals, I like to call in the business, which means nothing. It means
2-album deal.
It's just
2-album deal.
It's just more shit you have to hold up in the back of the house after your show, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, now, where did you record this? It was in October?
It's going to be this October. So
you're recording it in October. Okay, where are you recording?
In Raleigh at Good Nights.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm excited about it. I mean, I would have, part of me wanted to do it in Buffalo, but also like the Helium in Buffalo it's a great club, but like there's something about the recording when it comes out there, it doesn't come out as strong. And so they kind of convinced me to do it in Raleigh. They feel like that's one of their best rooms to record. And their label guy who records is in Raleigh, so he knows the room the best.
Okay. Gotcha. When I very first started doing the road, I was working with Killer Bees, and it's the first time I ever heard this said, but then I heard it from several people. They're like, if you can't kill at Charlie Goodnight's, get out of the business. Because that room is electric.
Mm-hmm. It's still a great room. And since Helium took over too, they kind of went back to there's a brief window towards the end before Helium took it back over. It was kind of starting to go down a little bit. I had heard. I hadn't been there in a while, but it seems to be back to what it was.
Cool.
That was like there and like Cleveland Hilarities are like two clubs that it's like if you can't get these rooms going, it's maybe you're not in the right business.
That's Ottawa too. That's where I recorded my last album, was in Ottawa at Absolute Comedy, and that's like another room where it's just like a Disneyland for comics. They're just that's where everyone wants to record. It got so good that it, at one point, Just for Laughs was not accepting their 6-minute sets from Absolute Comedy because they're like, you guys send us from somewhere else. We know it's too good. It's going to be too good.
It's too easy to kill, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know you got a good room.
What do you think makes that equation? Like
low ceilings, packed in like sardines, and Absolute does like a whole like kind of, I mean, it's a comic who runs a club. Jason Lawrence, his name is, and he just has it set up like even at the start of the show, like the lights go down a little bit, Eminem's Lose Yourself starts to come on. Someone in the back goes, ladies and gentlemen, your headliner Mark Riccadon's in the back of the room, and it's 6 minutes till showtime. And like they just create an energy in there, instead of just lights go off or, as much as I love the Funny Bones, like it's such a weird start to the show. It's just like an epileptic seizure and then like some crazy guitar music. And they're like, Guy Torrey is it? It's like, what are you doing? Like, at least play something different for, like it's just so strange. It's just like hardcore music. It's like, I don't know. I guess that's the way to start off a show.
Do you remember they used to do the video and it was with like Jim Brewer?
Oh, yeah.
And he was like bitching back and forth with another comic on the rules.
Yeah, it was Todd Glass. That's right.
Yeah, it was Todd Glass.
Todd, wow.
That video is one of the more uncomfortable videos, and I always used to be uncomfortable at the end because it's basically Todd Glass is explaining the rules, right? And then Brewer's on stage, right? And then eventually, it's just like stay in your seats, don't turn your cell phones off. And then at the end, Brewer from on stage goes, Todd, yeah, Brewer here. He goes, Brewer here, which is the strangest thing in the world. Like it takes you out of it, and he's like, "It's like, why would you say your last name? You're already on."
Only people doing impressions say who they are before they start talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, I'm Christopher Walken.
Sure,
like, Christopher Walken never says hi. I'm Christopher Walken.
Yeah, very uncomfortable. I remember years ago when I first started at the Cleveland Improv, kind of emceeing there. And they would show like the upcoming acts and stuff like that. Now, as all of you know, like most of the time, no one pays attention to it. Maybe you'll hear like a chatter of laughter, but most of the time it's just like background noise. And Cleveland Improv eventually became a very urban room. And so I was like working with a lot of, urban comics, which was totally fine, but you really had to bring it the MC spot. And the last video they were showing before they were starting the show was Bruce. And I've never seen anything like this in my life. He's doing, it's a clip, and the audience is losing their shit. Like applause breaks to the video. And I remember just thinking, like, I'm not gonna be able to follow the video. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. Like, you want to talk about getting out of the business now? It's like, look out.
Back in the 90s, Rascals used to have Rascals Comedy Hour, and it was
Sure.
On cable, and the headliner for the night would go up, close the show, then they'd keep the audience there, and the headliner would have to go back up and do another like 20 to 30 minutes to give the audience, because it was only, I think, 3 comics, whatever it was. It was an hour-long show, so they wanted to give the audience another half hour. So the headliner would have to do his act, come off, then go back up. And Greg Morton told me, it's such a great, Greg Morton has that huge close in his act where he does all
he's bringing out props and costume changes.
Prince, and he does all music. It's a huge close, and it's impossible to follow. And he closed the TV show with that bit, and then he goes, I couldn't follow myself.
Oh, that's perfect.
Side Splitters does something really good. They play like a bunch of funny clips from movies, and they bring the rules in a little bit, and it's like a fun, all right, everybody stop talking, and we're going to play something to keep you entertained until the show starts. And it's not overwhelming, like you were saying, like with the Bruce, where there's like applause breaks and people are dying. but it's funny because you go in the back of the room during the videos and you start going like, oh, they're paying attention and laughing a little bit. This is going to be a good show. Or if they just talk over the videos, you're like, oh, this is going to suck. Like,
Yeah.
You said, Matt, that something that you just don't, people who aren't in the business just don't understand. They just think, here's a mic, go be fun. And it just doesn't work that way. I mean, and low ceilings is so important. Like, because everything just goes up. People don't realize everything goes up. So if it goes up, you're not feeling it around you. And laughter, everything about it, low ceiling, it's amazing how important a lower ceiling. You play one of those big, like, high venues, like and you're like, oh, you walk in and you go, okay, I'm dead. You know what I mean? Like, interesting how small little things like that really matter.
Well, that's why 2020 was such a nightmare, because a lot of us were having to do outdoor shows, and like you got to compete with the sky. Like it's laughter just going up to the atmosphere. That's
Or how about when they're in their cars and beep when it's funny? And you're like, really, it's a bad idea.
Did you have to do any of those? I didn't do any drive-in shows. I got asked to do one. I had to cancel last second. I originally was going to do it, but ended up not doing it. But did you have to do any of those?
I did one where it was at a saloon, like a pub, on their front porch. And then there was a street, and across the street was a parking lot. So people parked, took out folding chairs, and sat across the street from you.
Oh,
and I got to admit, they couldn't have been more supportive. They were so happy. But here was the problem. The saloon served food takeout. And all the cars to go get takeout were coming down the street. Like, so you're trying to do your act, and there's cars going by.
I had to compete with so many ambulances during 2020. So many ambulances, fire trucks.
I'm really excited. Things have started opening up, and that it was so dumb. Like, I mean, I like doing Zoom shows, but I'm so happy to not have to do another one unless we have to, and then I guess I'll like it again.
Sure. Yeah.
You were the king of Zoom, Mark.
I had to do anything to keep afloat, because a lot of people who booked outdoor shows didn't book me.
Well, you're missing out on some great shows, Mark. I tell you.
I had to go to Florida and Texas to work because I needed money so bad. I didn't get any hazard pay. It was ridiculous.
I know.
I saw a comment the other night, I forget who it was, and he said something about how, like, with the pandemic, when he goes, you go to a restaurant and they wouldn't let you inside. And then it got cold and you're going, well, I'm too cold. I can't eat out here. So then they put up a tent and they put a heater in it and they let you in the tent with the heater and they zippered it shut and you're in it. And he goes, can't I just go inside? Like, if we're open to
I know, it's like the restaurant's getting sprayed for termites, but they still wanted to serve food. So what was your last show before the pandemic hit?
It was Calgary and then Vegas. So I was in Calgary, Alberta, March 3rd through the 8th. My wife was with me too. And as we're leaving Calgary, I had a Tuesday show at Jimmy Kimmel's Club in Vegas with opening for my friend Vicky Barbalock. And as we were leaving Canada, it was starting to kind of happen where it was like people were a little nervous.
Closing down.
No, it wasn't closing down yet because it would have been March 8th. I think my show in Vegas was on the 10th. And so got to Vegas. We went to like a CVS. We got some hand sanitizer. So that was starting to happen a little bit. We were starting to wipe down the slot machines. We just didn't know, And the show was great in Vegas. And then we had a red-eye flight on Wednesday. And this is where I feel like I'll never forget where you were when the pandemic started, because I put a bet on Utah Jazz versus Oklahoma City Thunder. And I did a little parlay. Richie, you're a sports guy. Yeah, you probably
a little bit, Matt. I
No.
kind of know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so we go because I'm like, oh, that'll be great. I'll go to the airport and we'll sit there. I'll have a beer and I'll watch the game and I'll still have some money on the line. That'll be great. So we go to the airport. We're waiting there and we're just watching the game's just about to start. And all of a sudden, all the players are just walking off the floor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I'm like, uh-oh. And it's Rudy
That was
Gobert had tested positive for Utah Jazz. And by the time we landed in Boston, it was a ghost town. Everyone was freaking out, you know?
Well, you know, for me, on March 11th, 2020, I got laid off. I do the warm-up on the Dr. Oz show.
Oh, right, yeah.
They were going to keep doing the show without an audience. They thought they were. That lasted a week, you know, but that was my last day. I got laid off because of the pandemic. So that's March 11th. And I'm going, okay, which was, I think, a Tuesday, maybe a Wednesday. Anyway, the 14th, it was a Wednesday. So now that weekend, March 13th and 14th, I had a show in one place in Jersey, a show in another place in Jersey. And the Friday night canceled because of COVID. The Saturday night went through with it. And the funny thing is then everything started canceling, right? You know, everybody was just cancel. So I got laid off on the 11th, but that's when the NCAAs were starting. If you're a
sure.
right? So now I'm thinking, this is great. They're having day games. I have no reason. I'm going to bet on all these games. I'm going to watch those games. So I got laid off on the 11th. On the 12th, I'm watching a college game at 12 o'clock. It started at 1 o'clock. They went to halftime and said, go home. They didn't let them finish the game.
Wow.
So now I'm like, now I don't have basketball to bet on. Baseball quit. My wife goes, it's like the virus is after you. Everything that I love was getting taken away one day.
I love that all of the stories today about where were you when COVID hit has to do with gambling. And we have a professional gambler who hasn't said anything about gambling.
Yeah.
Because I kept gambling. I found ways to gamble the entire time. I actually did more gambling during COVID than I think I did. It got to the point where I didn't want to gamble anymore because I was so full of it. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, this is usually my escape and enjoyment. And now I was doing it for work because I'm just streaming slots and streaming blackjack and talking to people while I gamble. And that's actually how I started on with you guys.
We all hooked up. Yeah. Well, Matt had.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because Tom had me on his podcast, and his podcast consisted of him playing slots. And
Everything.
And he talked to me a little bit, but then the slots would go, and I had put in $100, and we lost. And I'm like, now I'm losing money. It doesn't. What the hell's happening? And
You still owe him the money.
That was over.
Well, then one afternoon, Bergman had a great idea, and he goes, dude, why don't you join us and we do horse racing, but we go on Zoom so we can all hang out and then watch horse racing and bet. And I'm like, I don't know anything out of this panel. I don't know anything about gambling. But I'm like, yeah, whatever you guys want. I'll pick off of the colors scheme I like. Like, that's how I'll pick my horse. And
Matt, are you a big horse guy?
I got really into it during the pandemic. Yeah. It was like those, only a few things were still running in Florida, like Oklahoma. So
Right.
I signed up for this TVG and First Bet accounts. And then my wife figured out, she's like, if we just bet, because they do, everything has promotions. And they do every weekend, they have money back races, they're called. And they pick about 10 races across different tracks. And you can bet $10 on a horse. If it finishes second or third, but doesn't win, you get your money back. It's like, let's just do those races. And that's what we've done for the past year. And I'm not joking, like, I'm up like $2,000. She's up like 1,500. So we entered the Preakness this year. We've just bought the nice tickets for Preakness. Like, yeah, we've gotten really into it. Like, she won't tell people at work. She's like, I just can't let them know that I bet horses every weekend. She's like, you do what you want to do, but I'm keeping this more of a secret.
well, and what's funny is we started watching it, and then all of a sudden I realized my best friend from high school, his father was like a big shot in this horse racing, like with the little cart, and his sister is
cart. Did you just say?
It's like the chariot carts. Yeah.
They're in the little cart and they're like leaning back, and his sister is she had a billboard in Times Square. She's like the face of the racing. Like she interviews people and does all the announcing and stuff. And I'm like, we should have him on with us. He might know some of these people.
So good. And that's the first time I think I met you, Matt, is Mark invited me on with the comedians to gamble. I'm like, yeah, I'm down to play horses. I'm like, and now, you know what's funny is because of Matt, my family came over during the Kentucky Derby. Like my brother-in-law, all my wife's cousins, we all get to my house and we're all on TVG. I should have taken your code. I would have gotten you a ton of referral rates. They're still cursing me.
That was a tough day. I remember I lost pretty poorly on that day.
Oh man. You know what's funny is it just as one of them said, "Oh, Bob Bafferat's was in it." I'm like, "Let's bet it." Hey buddy.
Dude.
I said, "Let's bet it." We hit it and it didn't go through and that horse wins. And I was just going to dump whatever was remaining on the account on Bafferat's horse.
This is great. We're talking about gambling in front of Mark's son.
Hey, it's fun, Duke.
Duke's going to be a big gambler when he gets older, right? No.
No, he said no.
Look at you. That's all Dave and Buster's is, though, right? Isn't it just to get kids ready? Yeah.
Teach them how to do it.
They have a giant slot machine in Dave and Buster's where you pull the wheel and you can win 100 tickets. I'm like, this is not preparing you to give your money to the casinos. Nothing is.
Duke's more of a crane game guy. Duke likes the crane game.
He'll be a poker player.
I don't believe in the crane game. I don't think it works.
I don't believe in it. There's a skill in it.
Complete scam. Hey, Mark, we haven't done the joke, and we did do drinks, so I think we should do the joke.
Let's do the joke.
All right, but your son has to leave because it's dirty.
You should hear him, the shit he says.
All right, so really quick, here's what happened. Last Thursday night, governors out here in Long Island did a benefit to raise money for Bob Nelson, who's fighting colon cancer and has a lot of bills. And I went, and it was a great show. It really was. Joey Cola was on it, John Mulrooney, Peter Bales hosted it, and our great friend Rob Bartlett closed it out. And it was just great. And Jackie the Joke Man was on it. And I was trying to write down some of Jackie's jokes because we're always looking for jokes for the joke. So I only remember 2, but they're so goddamn funny. The first one is a married couple goes to a therapist. They're having problems in their marriage. They go to a therapist, and the therapist goes, "Listen, it's our first meeting. I don't want to start this off on a negative. Give me something positive. What do you two have in common?" And the husband says, "Neither one of us likes to suck cock." And the other one is married couples having problems in their marriage. They go to a counselor. The counselor says to the wife, "What's your main problem?" She goes, "He doesn't touch me. He doesn't come near me. He doesn't make me feel like a woman. We have no passion in our life anymore." Counselor throws her on the couch, rips her clothes off, fucks the shit out of her, jumps up, turns to her husband and goes, "She needs that 3 days a week." The husband goes, "Well, I can get her here on Monday and Wednesday, but on Fridays I play golf."
I think I know what's going on in Jackie's life. Or not going on.
Oh, I just love it.
That is so damn funny.
Yeah, and the other thing we should talk about really quick is we lost another legend who, I got to be honest, I didn't know he was still alive. In Jackie Mason over the weekend.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that.
93.
Yeah. And I don't know, Mark and I are friends. You're friends with Sheba, right? His daughter, Sheba. And Matt, I don't know if you know Sheba, but
she opened for me in Del Lago Casino a while ago, and I know about a little bit about the history there.
Yeah, quite a history. Yeah,
So.
it's quite. I'll tell you a funny story that Harlan and Arlene, who used to own
Go Bananas or Bananas.
the one in Jersey. Jesus, Richie.
Bananas.
Huh?
Bananas.
Bananas. Harlan was telling me when she was born and her mother was saying that he was the daughter, and there was a picture of Sheba on the front page of the news as a baby. And Jackie's at the club going, it's not my kid. It's not my kid. And Harlan's like, that's your child. Like, just her face on the cover of the news. He's like, you can't tell me this isn't your child.
Sure.
That was kind of funny.
The baby comes out and goes, bottle. Yeah. I had one run-in with him. I was hanging out.
Me too. That's funny.
At some club. I don't remember where it was. It was a room. It wasn't a club. It might have been like Platigan Sam's, like on 50th and 8th Avenue or whatever.
I remember Platigan Sam's. Yeah.
And there was like 5 of us standing around. We were waiting for the next show, and he walked by, and somebody went, "Oh, hey, Jackie Mason." And he turns and looks, and he goes, "Hey, we're all comics. We're going up." And he was like, "Good for you," and just kept walking.
I met him at the Strip, and like 25 years ago, I'm at the comic strip, and he came, and I was standing at the bar, and he came up. I don't know why. I think I was in a suit, and he goes, "Okay, what time am I going on?" I go, I don't work here, and I swear to you, I go, "I don't work here," and he goes, "Then why am I talking to you?"
I'm never a huge fan of like people who are like rude to be like every now and again I hear like a great story that I'm like, that's the perfect time to be rude to someone. Like Keith Alberstadt, who's a great comic, and he's like a huge Vanderbilt fan. And if I don't get me wrong, Jay Cutler went to Vanderbilt. And I guess years ago, like Cutler was at a bar there and was just taking a piss in the bathroom. And I guess some guy, like, I don't know if it's Keith's friend or somebody new, like walked up and like he was taking a piss next to him, and he goes, "Oh my God, Jay Cutler." He's like, "I just want to let you know I'm a huge fan." And I guess Cutler just put his head back and goes, "Don't care." Like,
That's fucking awesome.
not a huge Cutler fan, but that made me a little bit. He moved up in my book a little bit.
Douche. I heard Cutler is the biggest asshole.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's so funny. So where do you live? Where are you from, Matt?
Buffalo originally, but live in Washington, D.C. now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and how long have you been doing comedy?
Going on, I guess, 17 years now.
And we've never run into each other. That's so
I know. It is wild.
So weird. Where'd you start? Did you start in Buffalo?
Start in Buffalo. There's a place called Comics Cafe there.
Yeah.
So I started. Yeah. Did you ever work that one?
I think I did in the 90s. And there was another one there. It's a huge place. So big.
It might have been the Funny Bone. The Funny Bone was there for a little while.
You're right. Yeah. There was a Funny Bone there. Yeah. Yeah, Buffalo, that's a shitty place to grow up.
We love it there, man. We absolutely love Buffalo. Everyone, it's so funny. Whenever someone comes to town, we gotta show them around Buffalo and show them what a great city it is. Like, it's a good food town. It's a huge drinking town, as I'm sure.
I just want to point out that the Richie and Tom are Staten Island people. You're Buffalo, and I'm Youngstown.
How dare you?
None of us grew up in a nice place.
Yeah,
that's true.
Where Tom went, it didn't snow for like 5 months out of the year, though, Mark. I mean, you and Matt went. It's
pretty hardcore.
So
yeah, but we have like the greatest month of summer. We appreciate it. We get 1 month.
Good point.
And they really appreciate the Bills in Buffalo. Like, they really appreciate their team.
The Bills.
Love the Bills and love to show people a good time. Like, whenever I was actually just there about a month ago with my buddy TJ Miller was at Helium, so I
just missed you because I was there with Fatal.
That's right. They did say
it was like, we just missed you.
That's how it goes. That's how it always goes. But I mean, I've known TJ for a long time. I actually met him in Buffalo years ago, and so I was like, I'll give you a quick little tour of Buffalo and we'll go by. And this is where I'm like really dumb when it comes to history. So we go, McKinley was shot in Buffalo in 1901, right? And so there's a rock. It's just in the middle of a neighborhood where he was shot. It's during the Pan American Expo or whatever. And it's just a rock. I'm not sure if I ever showed you this before when you came to Buffalo, Mark.
No.
It's just like in the middle of a neighborhood. It just says, here was where McKinley was shot. So TJ takes a picture of it. And then he goes, so he's like, so what happened afterwards? I go, I don't know. I think everything was okay, you know? So Tom obviously understands history. So I go home and I Wikipedia McKinley. And I text TJ, I go, dude, are you sitting down? I have terrible news. That McKinley guy, very dead. He's very dead now. It's died that day, actually.
He did. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that he was the second president to be assassinated. Not Kennedy.
I know.
Yeah.
It's not like there's that many presidents have been assassinated where I'm like, well, I mean, a lot of them have been like living
They're
in
from
DC.
Ohio.
Yeah, I know. I should take someone to Ford's
McKinley
Theater.
and
Like,
Garfield.
yeah, it's like go to Ford's Theater. Lincoln was punched in the back of the head really hard. And then they took him across the street to make sure he didn't have a concussion. So that's where he stayed for the night, you know? Just
Yeah, I mean, he didn't die for like 3 days.
McKinley didn't die for 3 days?
No, Lincoln
No,
did.
Lincoln.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. People don't realize that. Like, he didn't just go, that was it. Because, I mean, the guns back then, it was like a little silver ball. It's like, lodged in his skull,
Yeah. It's more of a nuisance than anything for 3 days.
Matter of fact, I heard he shot him twice. The first time he just went like that. Too soon? Lincoln jump?
Very disappointed, though, to be from Buffalo and not know that fact, or at least know the full story. I gave him like the first 50%, which is all true. And then after that, it got a little shady.
Like,
just made stuff
Hitler
up.
was a major leader. That's about it.
Anyway.
That's all I got in other news. I think it was it Grover Cleveland when he actually didn't die from being shot. He died because the guy who made it's the same guy who made the electric chair, but he made the thing that you take on the beach, a metal detector.
Okay.
And he was running a metal detector over his body. And then when they would hear the beep, they would dig into his body to rip the bullet out. But the dumbass was on a bed made of metal springs. So they ended up butchering him, looking for the bullet.
Really?
Wow.
He would have survived the gunshot.
Wow.
Crazy shit.
What an interesting idea. And that's how to find the bullet. No x-rays back then.
Yeah.
The idea that he's on the bed, he thinks he's digging in.
They keep digging in. They keep saying it's here. He's on a metal spring bed, you idiots.
That's what makes me nervous about doctors. I feel like doctors just have to be good guessers. I was at a doctor's earlier today, and I'm like, could you give me the card? I have to call this into my insurance company. And the word consultants was misspelled on both sides of the card. I swear to God, this really happened. So now I'm like, not that I don't have faith in the new doctor I'm coming to see, but you can't spell consultants twice. Like, I was a little nervous.
Who's your doctor? Benny Gumbad?
No, I was blown away. And the best part was she took the card like back, and then they changed all the cards, I guess, to the old cards. They just must have got new cards, and nobody saw the typo in the card, which was crazy.
At a certain point, you're like, I already paid $80 for it.
Right?
I'm not giving them back.
I'm like, just tossing this out there as a new patient. I don't have the utmost confidence that I'm going to get taken care of well here.
Tom's like, I don't want to nitpick, but you spelled consultant wrong, and his finger's been up my ass for 45 minutes.
Well, that's how I made the appointment, because I enjoyed it.
All right, man. You guys get one mistake. All right, this is it. Everything else you guys got to pull together.
All right. Make sure you get my white blood cell count correct, please.
Where are you, Mark?
I'm at my house, and the kids were so good all day until I got on the computer. And now they need everything.
If you think they're annoying, I have to do a podcast with Frank Vignola after this.
I want to join you guys so bad, but as you can tell,
well, feel free.
Long in.
The categories today are like, I'm like, I don't know. Explain this to me. It's almost August. Here's the categories today. The Mets, it's a sports show, Matt. The Mets, okay. The Olympics, okay. And NHL hockey. What?
The Stanley Cup just won, right? It was over
like a month ago.
Yeah,
it was when I was in Florida.
Yeah, the draft. I don't know shit about hockey. I know that. Like, I'm from New York. I live in Long Island, and they tell me the Rangers suck. That's about all I know. They go, oh, the Rangers.
They are
sure.
wrong.
Now the Islanders are good, so it's 6-7
they
for
are.
one.
They are. It was pretty crazy out here. So that's all I got today. When he goes, okay, how about hockey? I'm going to go, the Islanders almost made it. That's all I got. I'm done. I can't bet on what do I, because I don't like betting on hockey. It's just not a sport you bet on.
Yeah, what's your favorite sport to bet on?
Football, by far.
Yeah.
Because I know so much. I really know about football, and I love the whole idea of the lines. Baseball's really tough.
Baseball's very difficult. You're betting on a pitcher for baseball.
Yeah, you do. But in this day and age, the pitcher's out of the game in the 5th inning.
Sure.
So you really, you do have to think about bullpens too now. But it's still hard. And the thing with baseball is the odds. Like, let's say the Marlins were playing the Dodgers. Well, the Dodgers are going to be favored by probably 2-1.
Yeah.
More. And you go, I don't want to lay that kind of money. You can lay 1.5 runs. That fell.
Oh, you walked him.
He had the thing we talked about before. He might have to hop off.
No, it's all good. I got him.
Yeah.
And I want to say hello to Mike Rowe. He's out there checking in on us. How are you, Mike?
Mike Rowe. We're trying to still get out there to Oahu. I just talked to Christy Miller to see if she had any contacts out there.
Oh, speaking of Christy Miller, while we have a minute, why did I think of Christy Miller?
Because I just said her name?
No, because there is something where she's involved. I said we need to get Christy Miller, but I want to talk to you guys about. But before I do, Wednesday, let's talk about Wednesday, August 11th.
Yes.
Which we have no guests. This just came about this weekend, but we're doing a 24-hour telethon right here on Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling. Starting we're not sure of the time. It's either going to be 5 or 6, and it's going to go for 24 hours, and we're going to raise money for the great Bob Nelson, who is battling colon cancer, and he's doing very well. He was at the show, and he looked great. He wasn't.
That's awesome.
He didn't perform, but he got on stage and talked, and he gave a great speech. And I said, we have to do, and Rob Bartlett and him are best friends. They've been friends since the 70s. And Rob asked us, Matt, if you didn't like my story, you could have just said.
Not sure what happened there. my phone got
he fell asleep and he hit the.
Sorry about that.
Wednesday, August 11th into Thursday, August 12th, we're going to do a 24-hour telethon. We're going to have I'm sure we'll have great comments because it's for Bob Nelson. I don't think we're going to have any problem getting guests, and I'm sure we'll show videos and all that crap, and it should be great. So I'm sure you tune in. So back to Matt Bergman, who's back. So anyway, with baseball,
listen, when someone starts talking about themselves, I just go right off. That's how I do things now. I'm a comic. I'm a narcissist. All right,
And you know what I don't like about basketball, Matt? You bet a team, they're up by like 22 points in the second quarter, and you think you got the game won, and then suddenly they lose by 15. You're like, what just happened?
Yes, I know.
What happened? So I like betting football.
I feel like you have the most bad beats in basketball. That seems to happen quite a bit, and especially like if you're doing points and stuff like that. Like, there's nothing worse than when someone just drains a not needed 3 at the end of the game. Like, what do you do? Like, that's when you start being like,
you're laying 8, you're winning by 10, and they hit a 3, they win by 7, and you lose the bet. That's the worst.
That's when you start being conspiracy theorists. Like, nah, Vegas called it in. Here we go again. You know.
Oh, yeah. That's really true. But yeah, I love football's my favorite sport. So you must love football being from Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm a huge
You're
Bills
a baseball
fan now.
guy too.
Yeah, my wife and I did all 30 stadiums together. For
Did
baseball.
you really?
Cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We did that over about a 7-year run.
I got to tell you, I don't know your wife, but she sounds like the coolest woman in the world. You bet
she is.
She's the best, man. We got married in San Francisco, and we ended up doing our. We only did for like 30 people, and our reception. We just went to a Giants game. We decided to go check out that stadium there. So she's in a dress and everything, and we bought like a suite behind home plate, and food and drink was on us, and that's how we spent our time.
Wow.
Yeah. Her idea.
Funny enough, I was in San Francisco and almost came to the wedding. I was out there doing a project for GE.
Oh, Mark, all you had to do was buy a ticket. There were 45,000 people at their wedding.
I wanted to go so bad, but we were filming these scientists, and I was like, I can't get out of this. They're paying too much money. If I tried to sneak out to go to Bergman's thing, I would get killed. But yeah, you guys go to soccer games, you go to baseball games. You guys are out and about doing stuff.
Big sports fans. We're actually going to be doing some shows in New Orleans this year when the Bills play New Orleans on Thanksgiving Eve. So we're going to go in the night before, go to the game, and then end up just like this year for the first time. Like I'm supposed to do Jacksonville as well when the Bills play Jacksonville. So that could be really fun.
Wow.
Did you say Thanksgiving Eve?
Yeah. They got the 8:00 game against New Orleans.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Thanksgiving. Yeah, on Thanksgiving. Yeah, good catch. Good catch.
I was like, shit, is there a Wednesday night game that I don't know about? Okay.
No, you guys also are really into music. You guys go to a lot of concerts as well. That's you guys are a cool couple.
Yeah, we're fans of any show. That was the one thing that we missed over the pandemic was checking out a good show.
I missed going to live music so much, but I really want you to tell Richie your Goo Goo Dolls story.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter if you told this story 3 times in a row, I still would laugh every single time.
Well, they're from Buffalo, right?
They are from Buffalo. You got it. Yeah. So I've known their bass player known for a long time. I actually did a DVD years ago. He has a record label in Buffalo that was both him and Johnny. So Robbie Takings the bass player, and then Johnny Resnick's the lead singer. And they had I think Johnny's still involved somehow, but they have a record label in Buffalo that they sign mostly Japanese bands now. But they wanted to have a couple comics on the label, so me and my buddy Jim did a DVD for them. So I've known them for a long time, and so we go whenever they're in town. We go check out the show and whatnot. So they're coming to DC about 3 years ago, and it's the Dizzy Up the Girl 20th anniversary tour, which is their huge album. Every song was on there, and they're just going front to back, and then a bunch of old songs. They're doing about a 2.5-hour show, so they didn't have any openers on this tour. But the problem was, they opened the door so early. They wanted to have something. So I go, do you want to come open for us in DC? And I was like, of course. Yeah, that'll be great. I mean, I was going to ask for free tickets anyway. So you can't be like, no, but can you still get some freebies? Is that possible? And I kind of was like, I don't know. I've opened for bands on a much smaller scale in the past, and it's never been great. And I go, I don't think this is going to go well, but I maybe was a little cocky because I've been doing this long enough. I can handle this at this point. And there's this place called the Anthem in DC where it was sold out. It was 8,000 people, but there was no seats, so it was standing room only. So they opened doors at 6:30, and the show was starting at 8:00. So you already got an hour and a half of people just standing around waiting, and they don't know comedy's going to happen. So it's 7:55. I'm upstairs in the green room. I was going to go on from 8:10 to 8:25 was my time, And I'm up in the green room, and their tour manager radios upstairs. He goes, "Hey, can you send Matt Bergman down a little early?" And I was like, "That's probably not good." So I'm walking. It was the second floor, so I'm walking down to the stage, and I just hear a full-on chant. It is people are chanting just "Goo Goo Dolls, Goo Goo Dolls." It's loud. It's really loud. And their manager ran up to me and goes, "Hey, man, can you go out there a little early?" And I was like, I was like, okay, what can you say at this point? Like, I don't want to go out there at all anymore. But now it's like, well, I'm in it. So he goes, awesome, thank you so much. He goes, what do you want us to say for you? We'll introduce you from the God mic backstage. And I go, it's like kind of important. I go, can you please just let them know that I'm a comedian, right? Because I think that's pretty important right about now. Because if I just walk out there, people are like, who the hell is that? And then you start telling jokes. Like, there's going to be a soccer mom riot. This is going to go really bad. Right? So Rich, I swear to the guy, he goes, I got no problem. And like, he's like, I got you. He gave me a little, I got you. Like, oh, that's nice. So he hops on the God mic, and this is my introduction. And you already know, you said it earlier. He goes, ladies and gentlemen, originally from Buffalo, New York, which you get it. That's where the Goo Goo Dolls are from, So now the entire crowd is like, hell yeah, here we go. Like, and then he goes, now lives in DC. And you start to hear a little and he goes, give it up for comedian Matt Bergman. And I just walk on stage, and right away, this woman in the front row just yelled, no, just screams it at the top, like so angry, like echoing throughout the whole building. It was, I only did 15. I mean, they wanted me to go a little bit longer.
I would have done 2.
I know. Well, the first 2 minutes was going okay, kind of, because I just kind of was like, is everyone excited for the Goo Goo Dolls? You're just doing all the things you have to do, right? Right. And then I did a couple jokes about going to concerts as a kid. And then I made a huge mistake. I looked down at the set list because I was starting to lose them a little bit. You start to hear some chatter, where people are like, who is this guy? I'm done with him already. And the set list is on stage. And I look down, I go, oh my God, you guys what a great set list. So many great songs on here. And I just go, no Iris. Well, that seems like a bad idea. And that's clearly a joke. It got nothing. Like silence, borderline anger, like
tears. You can hear tears coming out.
Yeah. And it just, from that point on, it was like every trick in the book that you try as a comic. Like, well, maybe they want dirty stuff. Like, nope, they're not. And now they're mad at me because I have kids. Okay. Just roller coaster.
Oh my God, Tom, you got to put up that pic.
My question is, was this picture before or after?
That was after. So
I
was able to fake a smile. Oh yeah, there's so much. Yeah. Robbie on the with the dark hair, that's the bass player, and they had Adam Ray open for them in Seattle, I guess, as well. And even Robbie was like, yeah, that's, the crowds are kind of like, he understands how comedy works. And essentially they just want someone to go out there and just do anything. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah.
Terrible feeling. My wife was going to come that night, but her parents are meeting like halfway, and they booked it right before I got the gig. And I just remember being like, like halfway through on stage, I'm like, I'm glad she wasn't here to see this. She's seen me bomb before, don't get me wrong, but this one would not be.
Yeah, you never want your wife to see the one for the books.
No.
Well, hey, we're hitting the 3:00 hour. We got Frank's show coming up. What's that?
This went fast. This is the fastest show we've ever done. Like,
I know, and we didn't even talk about his albums yet.
So. I know, but he's
I'll come back on in October. How about that?
Yeah,
perfect.
We would love to have you back, man. You were great. I'm serious. That was the fastest hour we've ever done.
Oh,
we need to all four get together and do a live show and hang out. Matt's such a great storyteller, and Richie, obviously, you know how I feel about your storytelling. It's the whole reason we have the podcast. So it'd be so much fun. Matt and I we would do a show every once in a while called Unplugged, where it's just we do our comedy and do some stories and stuff. So it's
cool.
We'll have to try to do it with Richie.
Awesome. I'd love to. That'd be great. I'm dying.
Yeah, great to finally meet you too, man.
Yeah. We definitely got to hang out, brother.
That'll be Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the reset button. Frank Vignola's going to be on with Richie. I'm going to try to join you guys. I have to go check on the kids first. Angie's not home, so the front of the house might have been ripped apart. So you guys, everybody, thank you for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow.
Cheers, guys.
Round table.
Cheers.